He was jailed over 20 times. He was stabbed in the chest. His house was bombed. His family lived in constant danger. Yet he never raised a single fist. He never called for revenge. He only ever called for one thing: love. And with that one weapon, he changed America forever. Martin Luther King Jr., the man who changed America forever. Some men fight with weapons, some men fight with words, and some men fight with something far more powerful than either: conviction. Martin Luther King Jr. had all three, but chose only one. Welcome to ChronosX Secrets. This is the complete story of Martin Luther King Jr. Chapter 1. The Making of a Leader. January 15, 1929, Atlanta, Georgia, United States of America. A baby boy was born. His name at birth was Michael Luther King Jr. He would later change it to Martin. His father was a reverend at Ebenezer Baptist Church and a passionate civil rights activist. From birth, Martin was surrounded by faith and purpose. He was a brilliant student from the very beginning. He skipped 2 entire grades in high school, and at just 15 years old, he entered Morehouse College. At first, the young Martin questioned his faith, but slowly, faith became the foundation of everything he was and everything he would become. He entered the seminary. He earned his doctorate at Boston University, and it was there that he met an aspiring singer named Coretta Scott. They married in 1953, and together they had 4 children. A family, a faith, and a destiny that was waiting for him. Chapter 2. The Spark That Lit the Fire. December 1955, Montgomery, Alabama. A black woman named Rosa Parks boarded a city bus. She sat down. She was told to give up her seat to a white passenger. She refused. She was arrested. That single act of courage ignited a movement that would change the history of America. Civil rights leaders looked around for someone to lead the response, and they chose Martin Luther King Jr. He was 26 years old, a young preacher with a voice like thunder and a heart full of fire. He led the Montgomery Bus Boycott. For 381 days, black Americans refused to ride the city buses. They walked miles to work. They sacrificed their comfort. They stood firm. December 20th, 1956, the United States Supreme Court ruled that segregated buses were unconstitutional, illegal, a massive and historic victory without a single punch thrown. Nonviolence had won. Chapter 3. The Philosophy of Love. Let this be understood clearly. King's strategy of nonviolence was not weakness. It was the most powerful weapon in human history. Inspired by the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi of India, King believed deeply that love would defeat hate. Every single time. He helped organize the Southern Christian Leadership Conference to unite civil rights demonstrations erupting across the entire country. Boycotts, sit-ins, peaceful marches. And his message was always the same. I love everybody. I am every man's brother. You may not love me, but that is your issue, not mine. Even when his house was bombed, even when hundreds of angry men gathered outside with weapons, ready for violence, he simply raised his hand and calmed them all. He who lives by the sword dies by the sword. Go home. God will take care of us. The crowd went home, peacefully. That was the power of Martin Luther King. Chapter 4. The Price of Leadership. Being the leader of this movement came at an extraordinary personal cost. King was jailed over 20 times. He was stabbed in the chest with a letter opener by a mentally disturbed woman at a book signing. Doctors said the blade was touching his aorta. One sneeze, and he would have died. His house was bombed while his wife and baby daughter slept inside. His family lived under constant threat every single day. His children grew up knowing that their father might not come home. His daughter Yolanda later remembered coming home from school one day crying. A classmate had called her father a jailbird. Her mother sat her down and explained, "Your father goes to jail to make this world a better place for all of God's children." The next day, she went to school with a completely new attitude, proud of her father. Chapter 5. The Dream That Shook the World. From 1957 to 1968, Martin Luther King was completely unstoppable. He traveled over 6 million miles. He delivered 2,500 speeches. He wrote 5 books and dozens of articles. He earned the personal attention of President John F. Kennedy himself. August 28, 1963, Washington, D.C., the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. 250,000 people gathered together, black and white, side by side. King stepped to the microphone and delivered one of the most powerful speeches in the entire history of humanity. I have a dream of equality, of freedom, of justice for every man regardless of the color of his skin. The world stopped and listened. In 1963, he was named Time magazine's Man of the Year. In 1964, at just 35 years old, he became the youngest person in history to win the Nobel Peace Prize. Chapter 6. Bloody Sunday and the March to Freedom, 1965, Selma, Alabama. A peaceful march for the right of Black Americans to vote. Police attacked the peaceful marchers viciously with clubs, tear gas, and brutal violence. The world watched in horror. History would call it Bloody Sunday. King did not retreat. He came back. 2 days later, he led another march. When the marchers reached the bridge and found state troopers blocking their path, King and his marchers knelt down in prayer on the bridge, in front of armed police, in silent prayer. The image shocked the entire nation. A third march was launched days later under the protection of the Alabama National Guard, ordered by President Lyndon B. Johnson. The power of King's movement could no longer be ignored. In 1964, President Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act. In 1965, he signed the Voting Rights Act, 2 of the most important laws in the entire history of the United States of America, one without a single weapon. Chapter 7. The Final Years and the Mountaintop. By 1968, Martin Luther King had made very powerful enemies. He had expanded his fight beyond race alone. He was now fighting what he called the 3 great evils of his time: racism, poverty, and the violence of war. He openly and fearlessly opposed the Vietnam War, and he knew he might not survive to see the fruits of everything he had fought for. April 3, 1968, Memphis, Tennessee. He had come to Memphis to lead a march defending the rights of striking garbage workers. That night, he delivered his final speech. He called it, "I've been to the mountaintop." His words that night felt like a farewell. I may not get there with you, but I have seen the promised land. The crowd wept. He smiled. Chapter 8. The Assassination. April 4, 1968, the Lorraine Motel, Memphis, Tennessee. King stepped out onto the balcony of his second-floor room. He stood in the evening air. A single shot rang out. Martin Luther King, Jr. fell. He was rushed to hospital. He was declared dead at 7:05 p.m. He was 39 years old. America wept. The world stood in silence. But his dream could not be killed with a bullet. Chapter 9. The Legacy. In 1983, President Ronald Reagan signed a proclamation declaring the third Monday of every January Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a national public holiday, forever. His face on stamps, his name on streets across every state in America, his words still quoted by presidents and leaders around the world. And his dream still being fought for today. He proved one extraordinary truth: love is stronger than hate. Always. Minister, activist, leader, dreamer, martyr. One man, one dream, one weapon. Love. He was jailed. He came back. He was stabbed. He came back. His house was bombed. He came back. They killed him, but they could not kill his dream. And his own words say it best. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Thank you for watching ChronosX Secrets. If this story moved you, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because the secrets of the past are closer than you think. We'll see you in the next one.